Hello and welcome to the show. This is Everything Under the Sun. My name is Ty. Hope all of you are truly doing amazing, taking care of yourselves, appreciating yourselves, and the things that show up in your life. There's so many things that I constantly remind myself of that I'm receiving in this life, and whether it's just friendly smiles or a sunshine or just whatever it may be, it's something that I remind myself of because these are incredible blessings that are in our lives, and sometimes we just look past them because we're desiring something. Our attention is so focused on the outcome of something or some problem that has happened that we lose sight of the incredible things that are right here in our lives, the loved ones that are right here in our lives, the expressions of peace and joy that we can recognize that are right here in our lives that we don't cast our attention on because it's so focused on other things. So I hope you are noticing the incredible things that are showing up in your life, the people that are around you, the joyousness that you're able to have, the peace that you're able to have, and relish in that, bask in it, because it is your life and it is something that is truly, truly amazing. So something that's been on my mind a lot recently has been this idea of these wounds and these scars that we carry within ourselves, because these scars and these wounds impact the way that we interact with other people and we interact with ourselves and this life that we want to live. These are wounds that we've carried for so long, and they seem to be part of normal society. They seem to be part of the way that we just move in life, but they've hindered us in so many ways, and it's not until we notice them and recognize the impact that they've made that we can start to make those changes that we want to see. And with that in mind, I'd like to read a passage from a book that I've been reading, and it's really something that's so powerful and speaks to these wounds that we carry and kind of allows us to see it in a different way, that we can really start to see the true impact that it has on our lives and our relationships. And this book is called The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. And I believe that I mentioned another book by him, The Four Agreements, which is something that is also so incredible. So if you have the chance to read that, that's something amazing as well. But I really wanted to read this passage from this book because I think it's something that, again, is so powerful and may help to better illustrate the depth of the wounds that we carry and how they impact our lives. So again, this is The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz, and this is just a short passage. I want you to imagine that you live on a planet where everyone has a skin disease. For 2,000 or 3,000 years, the people on your planet have suffered the same disease. Their entire bodies are covered by wounds that are infected, and those wounds really hurt when you touch them. Of course, they believe this is normal physiology of the skin. Even the medical books describe this disease as a normal condition. When people are born, their skin is healthy, but around 3 or 4 years of age, the first wounds start to appear. By the time they are teenagers, there are wounds all over their bodies. Can you imagine how these people are going to treat each other? In order to relate to one another, they have to protect their wounds. They hardly ever touch each other's skin because it's too painful. If by accident you touch someone's skin, it is so painful that right away she gets angry and touches your skin just to get even. Still, the instinct to love is so strong that you pay a high price to have relationships with others. Well, imagine that a miracle occurs one day. You awake and your skin is completely healed. There are no wounds anymore, and it doesn't hurt to be touched. Healthy skin you can touch feels wonderful because the skin is made for perception. Can you imagine yourself with healthy skin in a world where everyone has a skin disease? You cannot touch others because it hurts them, and no one touches you because they make the assumption that it will hurt you. If you can imagine this, perhaps you can understand that someone from another planet who came to visit us would have similar experiences with humans, but it isn't our skin that is full of wounds. What the visitor would discover is that the human mind is sick with a disease called fear. Just like the description of the infected skin, the emotional body is full of wounds, and these wounds are infected with emotional poisons. The manifestation of the disease of fear is anger, hate, sadness, envy, and hypocrisy. The result of the disease is all the emotions that make humans suffer. All humans are mentally sick with the same disease. We can even say that this world is a mental hospital. But this mental disease has been in this world for thousands of years. And the medical books, the psychiatric book, and the psychology books describe this disease as normal. They consider it normal, but I can tell you it is not normal. When the fear becomes too great, the reasoning mind starts to fail and can no longer take all those wounds with all of the poison. In the psychology books, we call this a mental illness. We call it schizophrenia, paranoia, psychosis, but these diseases are created when the reasoning mind is so frightened and the wounds so painful, it becomes better to break contact with the outside world. Humans live in continuous fear of being hurt, and this creates a big drama wherever we go. The way that humans relate to each other is so emotionally painful that for no apparent reason we get angry, jealous, envious, sad. To even say I love you can be frightening. But even if it's painful and fearful to have an emotional interaction, we still keep going. We enter into a relationship, we get married, and we have children. In order to protect our emotional wounds, and because of our fear of being hurt, humans create something very sophisticated in the mind, a big denial system. In that denial system, we become the perfect liars. We lie so perfectly that we lie to ourselves and we even believe our own lies. We don't notice we're lying, and sometimes, even when we know we are lying, we justify the lie and excuse the lie to protect ourselves from the pain of our wounds. That denial system is like a wall of fog in front of our eyes that blinds us from seeing the truth. We wear a social mask because it's too painful to see ourselves or to let others see us as we really are. And the denial system lets us pretend that everyone believes what we want them to believe about us. We put up these barriers for protection to keep other people away, but those barriers also keep us inside, restricting our freedom. Humans cover themselves and protect themselves, and when someone says, "You're pushing my buttons," it's not exactly true. What is true is that you're touching a wound in his mind, and he reacts because it hurts. So that was just a short passage that's in this book. I believe it's like the second chapter of this book or so, but it's really something that's so powerful and speaks to this idea of these wounds that we do carry, and they are emotional wounds. They're pains, they're traumas, they're things that we've carried for so long since childhood. Like in that passage, it was saying from about 3 or 4 years old, the skin is healthy up until that point. But then afterwards, these wounds start to form. And that's really when we start to embody the scars and the wounds that are passed down from parents and people that are around us, and it's not their faults because that's just the way that we've been doing things. Again, this has been happening for thousands of years. It's just been how we've been living, and we can start to move in a different way, but it's not until we've noticed that history is repeating itself. History is repeating itself within ourselves, and it's not until we clear those wounds, heal those wounds, address the wounds, that we can do something about it and we can start to move in a different way. We can start to live our lives more free. Because again, if you are in pain, you're going to be restricted. You're not going to want to do things because you might get hurt. You're not going to want to enter relationships because you might get hurt. You may not want to follow your dream because you might get hurt. Because of these old wounds that told you, you can't succeed. You need to try harder. You need to be better. You need to do something else. You need to be this way. Fit inside of this box. These are all things that have created these wounds within ourselves that have kept us from expressing the truth of who we are. Allow yourself to notice the wounds that are within the beliefs that we have, the wounds that are held within our mind, the wounds that are in the past that we seem to carry with us right now to this day. Allow yourself to heal them by being at peace with them. Allow yourself to heal them by allowing them to be exactly as they are and not letting that stop you from moving towards your dream. Because it's really pushing past this fear that is the root of all these other things that have been popping up in our lives, all these other dissatisfactions that have appeared in our lives. The root of it is fear. And as we push past that, as we allow ourselves to go on a limb again, as we allow ourselves to speak our truth, we can heal those wounds, because at the other end of it, we say, you know what, I'm still here. And I still feel great because I spoke my truth. I still feel good. And it doesn't matter if I'm ostracized. It doesn't matter if people don't accept me for who I am. I accept me for who I am. And I'm no longer going to let that fear of the possibility of someone not accepting me stop me from pursuing the things that I feel passionate about. I'm not going to stop it from allowing me to feel the greatness and the joy that I want to feel in this life. So many times people will say this idea, it's like there's no way to be happy every day of your life, every moment of your life. How do you know that? Just because maybe no one's really experienced that doesn't mean it's not possible. Let go of that belief and test that. Test that limit. See how much you can be happy, how much happiness you can bring into your life. Is it something that you're striving for? Is it something that you desire for yourself in your life? And you've been told you have to work harder, you have to try harder, you have to sleep less, you have to sacrifice more. Why does that have to be true? Just because other people have had that experience and that's been the repeated thing, the stress, the anxiety, the worry, all of those things have been repeated. And sure, we can keep repeating those things, or maybe we can ask ourselves, could I have success by having fun? Could this life be something joyous? Can I have all the things that I desire by doing something I love that feels good, that feels easy? And ease doesn't mean that it's actually less work. Because if you've ever been on a roll with an idea that you've had, some kind of new invention, you maybe start pulling out a pen and paper and writing down all these different things. Maybe you start drawing graphs that you haven't drawn since you were in high school, and you're like, wow, I'm so happy I learned how to draw those graphs because this must be the moment it was for. You start to research, you start to do all this different stuff, and maybe even hours pass. You're doing a lot of work, but it's in a flow. It feels good, you're passionate, you're excited. It's something that's fun. This can be the life that we live, but it's not until we break down that belief, that wound that's keeping us from touching it, that says, having fun and living the life of my dreams cannot be something that go hand in hand. I must struggle, I must work hard, I must sacrifice. That is a wound, and every time you want to get close to your dream, you're like, oh, well, I must have to sacrifice something important in my life. Maybe I'll just let that go. I have to try really hard. I have to do something that I don't want to do in order to get to that thing that I love. That is a false belief. Live your life, enjoy it, enjoy each and every moment that you can, and bring happiness into everything that you do. And if you want to pursue something in your life, as far as a job or just a state of being, recognize what that goal is and feel it right now in this moment. Feel it in that moment and feel the wounds that start to arise in that moment. All the beliefs, all the thoughts, all the words that come in your head that go against that feeling. And recognize those are your wounds. Those are the things that need healing in order for you to have that freedom as you're walking through your life. And again, that freedom comes with the declaration of your freedom. Step through that fear, move past that wound, and say, this does not stop me. I am free now. I am free now, and I believe in myself. I believe in the things that are passionate for me, and I know this thing that I feel. I know what I feel within myself. I know that that is a truth enough for me to follow that. I will allow myself peace and joy and happiness and success and abundance. I will allow these things for myself as I eliminate these wounds that have kept me from that. As I eliminate these false beliefs that have kept me from pursuing that. These fear of success, this fear of falling down. All these fears and these worries that have kept me stuck. I'm finally going to let them go. I'm finally going to move through them and recognize that I am stronger because of it. I am more free because of it. I feel better in my life because of it. Be on your own side. Heal these wounds, recognize them, and know that there's nothing wrong with recognizing that there are wounds that need to be healed. Whenever you recognize that there is a wound that you're touching on, give it thanks, because it's something that has been there for a very long time, and now you can address it. Allow freedom in your life, allow freedom in your relationships, allow freedom in your emotions and all the good things that you want for yourself in your life. And recognizing these wounds that we carry is the first start to that. So that's all I really have for this episode. If you have any thoughts or ideas or anything that you'd like to share, you can send that to everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. You can join any of the social media groups: Instagram, everything.sunpodcast, Twitter, @everysunpodcast, the Facebook group, @everysunpodcast, and the YouTube page, Everything Under the Sun with Ty. And yeah, that's all I got. I love you all so much, and I will talk to you soon.